Do you want to say?
Thanks, Ben. I hope you can all hear me. Thank you. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Terry Rao, and I am here with my mom, Barbara, at table number 2, and my sister, Denise O'Brien, to let you know a bit about our experience when Dad, John Paul Rao, was in Huron Hospice, Bender House. Wednesday, May the 24th, 2023, is a day our family will never forget. It was the day our dad, John Paul Rao, arrived at Huron Hospice as a resident to live out his final days. Dad was transported safely there by ambulance, and we arrived shortly after. We walked into Dad laying in bed with a wonderful nurse, talking to Dad and holding his hands. What a beautiful greeting. Dad looked so at peace and kept saying he was happy to be there. His attitude helped our family with this transition. Our family just wanted him to be comfortable and peaceful in his last days. The staff, volunteers, and particularly the nurses were so kind and thoughtful of Dad's needs, and our family and friends' needs too. We all felt calmer, comforted, secure, and peaceful, knowing Dad was being taken care of so wonderfully. The nurses took the time to explain to Dad about the stages of a natural death, and they also sat with the family to explain that to us, so we would have a better idea of what he was going to be going through. Dad and Mom live in an apartment, and if he stayed at home, Mom would have had to hire a nurse to come in to take care of Dad. There would have been limited space for a hospital bed, and it would be hard on our family not knowing if we were doing the right thing to care for Dad and what to expect. At the Huron Hospice, he had nurses to give him a bath and help change clothes and keep him comfortable. He would laugh with the nurses, saying he was going to the car wash when it was time for his bath. Our family has known about Huron Hospice since its opening, and we also knew some of the residents who have passed away there. Because of the location, it was not very far for our mom and some of the family who live in the area to visit Dad every day. John Paul was raised on a farm in rural area of Zurich. He married Barb, our mom, and they had a farm of cash crops and livestock, such as pigs, cows, and chickens. Dad was the oldest of 9 children, and he and Mom had 5 children. The family has grown with many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Our family is very close and get together quite often. Dad had many family and friends visiting him at Huron Hospice, and we were thankful for Dad's large room and the common sitting areas, both in and outside. The grounds are beautiful and provide a very peaceful walkabout. During Dad's time there, many residents came and then passed away. Staff and other residents, visitors, are very respectful to the family and friends who are there during the time a resident passes away. There is a peacefulness in the home, and everyone is a little quieter. Dad had a laugh that was contagious. He was known later in his life as the Candy Man. He always had a stash of Smarties in case some kids were around. Dad loved music, and he was so happy when the volunteers came and played and sang for him and his visitors. He was also a sports fanatic. He loved to watch any sport and was a Montreal Canadian Habs fan through and through. John Paul had bowel cancer around the age of 80, and in the last few years of his life, he had bladder cancer, which in turn went to his kidneys, and in January 2023, the cancer spread to his liver. Dad and his family were very thankful when the doctor suggested Huron Hospice for his final days. Huron Hospice felt a bit like home, with Dad living there and family and friends being there all the time. We could bring food for meal times, and the family could sit around the big table to eat together. Dad's room was near the dining room, so we could see him while we ate. There was also a lot of food provided for us if we wanted. We could cook or make tea or coffee almost any time. The nurses even made popcorn for us one of the nights we stayed with Dad. The volunteers have bird feeders outside the windows of the rooms. Everyone loved to watch the various species of birds come to the feeder or hover at the windows. Dad is a Catholic, and the deacon of our church came often to give Dad communion and to pray with him. Our parish priest also visited and prayed with Dad and any family and friends there at the time. During Dad's last days, 4 of his children stayed overnight, sleeping on couches or in a chair. There are couches that pull out into beds for family to stay over. Our one sibling spent the nights with Mom in their apartment where she could rest from being at the hospice all day. The washrooms have many supplies and a shower for loved ones, family and or friends to get refreshed. The hospice is always needing donations of paper supplies for the kitchen and the washrooms. It was around noon on June the 10th, 2023, and Mom, her children, Dad's siblings and in-laws were gathered around John Paul's bed. We all knew the end was imminent. The nurses were so empathetic, and they gave the family privacy as we prayed and sang as Dad was taking his last breaths. We all watched in awe as Dad breathed his last with a big smile on his face. We knew he was going to his eternal home in the arms of our Lord. In the moments after the nurse confirmed that Dad had passed away, there were tears and hugs, and even smiles, knowing Dad was at peace. We left the room while the nurses prepared Dad for the funeral home to pick him up. We all stayed with him for a few hours until they came. It was very peaceful, sitting by his bed, and everyone took turns and came and sat there for a little while with Dad. When the funeral home came, the nurses put a blanket of our choice on Dad, and we asked to have his face showing for his final procession out of the home. The nurses played the music we chose, and the family followed Dad out of the hospice and into the waiting funeral home van. The nurses also put the Canadian flag at half-mast in honor of Dad. What a beautiful, thoughtful honor guard planned by Huron Hospice for those who pass away. There is also a photo album with the pictures of all the residents. Family and friends can write notes and messages on the information sheets and the pictures. All these thoughtful gestures and acts of kindness from the staff and volunteers at Huron Hospice help to put a smile on the faces of the family and friends who have lost a loved one, knowing they have been taken care of as if they were part of their own family. It's like a big hug. On the grounds is a memorial forest where you can donate to plant a tree in memory of your loved one. There is a celebration in the fall when the trees are planted. There is a living memory of John Paul Rao in that forest. Now, when we go by here in Hospice and see the flag at half-mast, we know someone has passed away, and we say a little prayer for their family and friends. Thank you from the family of John Paul Rao.
Thanks very much, Terry.